Hey guys, it's P. As I'm sure a lot of you are aware, I make millions of dollars making videos for the internet. And the reason why you know this is because that's all the media's ever acknowledged me for. For some reason, they don't report on the inherent worth and value of my internet videos where I pretend to be scared by video games. In 2013, someone wrote an article about what it might mean that I'm the most popular thing on YouTube. And because I'm a healthy person, based on that one article, I concluded that the entire media hates me and also just the concept of internet personalities. I'm just one guy. There's no producer. There's no writer. Please ignore the script I wrote for this video that you can fucking see in the reflection the entire goddamn time and that I'm clearly reading from. The media never comes to me for my side of the story, except all the times they do and I turn them down. And I have no other platform in which to get my message across. I want to address the biggest issue first, which would be the guys holding up the sign thing. I'm saying it like that because it's much easier to take my side when you forget that the sign said, "Death to all Jews." I'm going to try not to mention that's what the sign said, I'm just going to call it the sign thing from now on. A lot of people really liked the video, and some people didn't. You know, some people just think it's really funny when you write "Death to all Jews" on a sign. It makes a really good point about how you shouldn't say it, but I said it. It's funny. But a lot of people think anti-Semitism is wrong and it's bad to normalize hate speech by turning it into a spectacle for fun and attention. But, you know, maybe both sides have a bit of a point here, you know? I'm very sorry for the words that I used. I'm going to use the phrase "the words that I used" because, once again, I'm reticent to remind people that the words were "death to all Jews." I admit that the joke went too far. I believe that you can joke about anything, and that means that you definitely should, especially if you're a gaming YouTuber with a large fan base of tweens. It turns out there's a right way and a wrong way to pay someone to call for the extermination of the entire Jewish people. I found out one of the wrong ways this time. Maybe I'll get it right next time. I admit that my joke was very easy to misinterpret, and how dare the media misinterpret me? They're trying to make me look bad by... The list is huge. They've reported the things I said and did. We can all agree that the people in this situation who fucked up are the journalists who watched the things that I made and reported on the things that happened in them. I hereby call upon my fans to boycott the Wall Street Journal. Please, my core demographic, consider purchasing a different economics broadsheet in the future. We need to stop the Wall Street Journal and all other forms of pitiful, hateful, bile-spewing clickbait. Clickbait is awful. Purposefully using a catchy, attention-getting headline so people read your work. Wouldn't it be awful to live in a world that normalized people doing obnoxious over-the-top things for attention so they could make money? Wouldn't that be fucking terrible, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it? Wouldn't it? Just one tiny, multiple slip-ups, and then all the media had to do was report on it. Almost as if that's their job. Now, you could say that a world where you can pay poor people to do almost anything because they're desperate and need the money has far deeper problems than the risks that will happen to a rich person if he actually pays people to do it. And you could say that maybe we should take deadly seriously the actual fascists and Nazis emerging from the woodwork to defend me and the concept of ironic racism. But you're forgetting that none of that affected me! Apart from the fact I'm fighting the realization that a literal child can do what I do, I was doing just fine. I'm fucking rich. But not as rich as I could have been. And that's the real problem, isn't it? I'd got my hair done well, and I'd learned to smile and wink and do the bro fist, and I'd apologize for all the rape jokes. I was ready to be the face of the internet. And then that clickbait 39 times Pulitzer Prize winning journalism outlet smeared me by reporting the things I said. Luckily, the real faces of free-thinking rational media had my back. If they hang out long enough on YouTube live streams, they'll surely eventually crowdsource a solution to the problem of people thinking racism is wrong. This incredibly intense overreaction to journalists reporting on things popular people say can't possibly backfire and make us look like tiny babies. And what am I supposed to do about this slander? How am I supposed to defend my image? All I have is more money than most people will ever fucking see, 53 million subscribers, and journalists asking me to give my side constantly, which I refuse to do. I'm almost as downtrodden as those poor Indian people who were so desperate they were willing to write racial indecencies on a sign for $5. but I know what the real oppression is here. J.K. Rowling even called me a fascist! Well, she didn't. She made a pithy comment about the proliferation of ironic fascism for the sake of edginess, but I don't need to read and parse the words properly. Who am I, the Wall Street Journal? Personally, I think they, that's right, they, all of the bad people, are the ones normalizing hatred, because I'm sure everyone hates me and I'm not paranoid! Instead of focusing on my show getting cancelled, why don't we focus on some real issues? I'm not going to say what those are, but hopefully it doesn't involve wondering why Nazis love my videos so much. I'm still here, Wall Street Journal. You tried to destroy me, but you failed, which is what you were trying to do, apparently. I'd like to say a very special thanks to everyone in the YouTube community for coming out of the woodwork to vocally support me so people would click on their videos for money. Let's brofist. Also, I'm really sorry about the rape jokes, okay? Can we please just forget about this and go back to loving me again? Alright, I recognise that this video might offend some people. I recontextualised some of the stuff that Pew said, added a couple of things he didn't say, and of course I titled the video PewDiePie Is A Nazi. So while I've got you here, I just thought I'd defend myself by saying it's just a joke. You know, like those things PewDiePie does. Surely, in the name of freedom of speech and expression and being able to joke about anything, nothing's off limits, surely I can jokingly say PewDiePie's a Nazi, right? And while I'm being super obvious about what the point is of this video, I do think it's a little bit disingenuous for Felix to imply that the Wall Street Journal put Disney in a corner and forced them to sever ties with him. Disney are a, big company. They can make their own decisions in life, and they're also a little bit afraid of looking like anti-Semites because it's bad to do that. And also they have a history of maybe making a couple of mistakes on that front, and they kind of want to correct that. No, I think Disney severed their ties with him because they saw what he was doing and thought about it, using critical thinking. If I recall, a similar thing happened with Levi's, where they saw that PewDiePie was making a bunch of rape jokes, and they stopped wanting to advertise on his videos. That's a business decision, that's not repression or censorship. That's a company saying, hey, maybe we shouldn't advertise on this guy's page. Maybe it makes us look bad. That's just a business decision. Disney have something of a reputation to protect. They make films that are usually for almost all ages. They make Star Wars now. I'm pretty sure at no point in a Star Wars film does a character pay someone to hold up a sign saying death to all Wookiees, or at least if they do, they turn out to be the bad guy or in the midst of a massive nervous breakdown, in which case I am really sorry, Felix. It's pretty clear from how the discussion is unfolding on YouTube that the real problem isn't some impending corporate monopoly. Sorry, there's a train. The actual monopoly is inherent in how the discussion is being had. For example, look at the treatment Jacksepticeye, another gaming YouTuber, is getting for daring to say that he thinks maybe Felix got some things wrong. Jack is a fan of Felix. The two have known each other for a very long time, he very clearly looks up to him, and he makes some fairly light criticism, but the internet is calling him a backstabber. Like, the most subscribed person on YouTube can't even be mildly criticised by someone who admits they look up to him, without them being accused of backstabbing him and a massive shouting match emerging between their respective fan bases. And from what I can gather, that's the real problem here. Comedy on YouTube, as well as most forms of discussion, can't really develop beyond a fairly juvenile stage because it's impossible to provide a nuanced critique without being regarded as a threat. Supposed attempts to defend freedom of speech have ended up being defences of the most popular person's speech from other people's speech because they're using it to criticise them. In place of fighting for some actual freedom or some genuine discussion, people are basically arguing for a pseudo-populism in which the most subscribed person has to be right because he has the most. In the words of Keemstar, and I actually wrote this down when I saw it because it was ridiculous, if we decided as a community that PewDiePie was wrong, then he would have 1 million dislikes, not 1 million likes. He then goes on to say, we have already decided that PewDiePie has done nothing wrong, that he is innocent. Already decided he's innocent. Because of likes. I certainly hope it goes without saying at this point that the idea that a person can't be wrong because a lot of people clicked a like button on their favourite gaming YouTuber is a really bad idea for speech and discussion. Freedom of speech is a very important thing and it should be defended from people who seek to limit it. For example, actual literal fascists. But who in this equation needs defending the most? The guy with the most subscribers and the farthest reach on the fucking platform? Or the smaller people who actually dare to criticize him and are being treated like dog shit for it? Somehow I think this video with a bunch of dumb jokes in it, and a couple of bits of light criticism where Jacksepticeye says he thinks Felix got some things wrong, are somehow more revolting than a video of someone paying people to hold up a sign saying death to all Jews. Doesn't something seem wrong about that? Just in case it wasn't obvious, no, I don't think Felix is actually a Nazi. Which, admittedly, is a pretty low bar. But then again, I have quite a lot of experience with Swedish fascists, so maybe I just know what they look like. I didn't think the Wall Street Journal thought he was either, though. I read their article. They just pointed out that he relies on one joke too often, and that's because when people criticize him for overusing jokes or relying on sloppy joke editing as a crutch, people jump down the throat and call them a backstabber. The structure of YouTube doesn't just hurt people who happen to not be as popular as PewDiePie and have different opinions. It also is bad for PewDiePie, because his comedy can't evolve because people can't criticize him without being called backstabbers, so they don't bother. Unless we actually raise the discourse by treating everyone in the equation better, especially the people who criticize PewDiePie and have less of an audience, then we're going to keep encountering this same problem over and over again, because nothing will actually change. Also, I really have to reiterate, I don't think Felix is a Nazi. Now I've said it, you can't sue me. Thank you very much to all my patrons for helping to validate this dumb garbage that I make. In addition to the names scrolling past the screen right now, I'd especially like to thank Commissar Taco, Get Dunked On, The Cameo, Joseph Greco, Jakutja Boris, Evan Ritchie, Elliot Soden, Aidan Bradley, Daniel Stewart, Cam Kensai, Dylan Tompkins, Dipshit Chris, Feral Kimchi, Paul Yowen, Jan Anders Bremer, A Mysterious Benefactor, Sarek, Casey Explosion, Lauren Tacticos, Clementine, Raqueen, Apilius Bulge, Garand, Skeptical Frog, Nathan Hoare, Corwin Light Williams, Justin Conkerbeard, Sean Higgins, Richard Pearson, Renee Larshaug, Procor, Ryan Klaus, Disciple of Kierkegaard, A Pair of Huge Googly Eyes on a Flaccid Penis and Knuckles, Aislinn, Poggington Jones, Unknown_email, Shadowbag, Brock Barber, 3/5 of a Brain, Thomas Kistner, David Dermazalu, Felix Meyer, Ricard Hevosmar, Julius Nyborg Ollison, Zachary Clark, Jerry Terry, Gary Marshall, Tom Martell, Gabrielle de Belfuil Jurajuria, Caden Patine, Anna S., K Plays Dota, Daniel Vincent Chilton, Mike Stanley, Philip Huber, George Alder, Lissy Roberts, Scarthrax, Lord of the Roaches, Mr. Clonum, Mackenzie Cockerill, Mons Silverplatz Thunstrom, Sammy J, Eugene Butler, Jordan Tullis, Billy Layden, Neverminder, Owen Piper, Bill Mock, Recovering Zombie, Emily O, Young Cowrie, Jason Walter, Caleb McMurphy, Jay Logan, Findlay Bowick Copley, Femin Ninja, Parker Anderson, Silas Pumpkins, Ash Stryker, Sean Kemp, David the Benevolent Malevolence, Amy Lech, Brennan Arts, Alexander Corbett, Olivia Mello, John Cantwell, Marco Shard, Luke Gould, Malarkey Bingo, Eric Hunter, Lady Naga, Spilt Coffee, Zachariah Scott, Siegfried Pinzer, Robert Phillips, Rebecca Washam, Hero War, Kafzile, Alex Lemkovich, Grafin Blackpool, Jeffrey Theobald, Jack Harvey, Casey Schneibel, David Rose, Samael, Scott Gertin, Thad Wazalewski, Alicia Parker Martell, Cav P, MK, Kevin M. Knippi, Jenny Angel, and Kieran.
Don't forget to subscribe!